What we're going to cover is what the problem is with websites, what a website should do, how websites and our brains kind of work together. And anyone who's been in any of my very recent workshops, I'm very much into understanding the psychology behind customers, understanding the psychology behind design, and being able to take advantage of certain aspects that really do the right thing for people. We're going to look at what needs to be in your website. I'm going to have all the pieces laid out and what they mean and what they actually help to do. And I'll show you some examples of some websites that really do work in this area too. First up, though, this is brought to you by Business Station and the Digital Solutions Program from the Australian Government, running until September 30 this year. So if you haven't taken advantage of this particular program, I've got some details at the end to help you along with it. This is being recorded to YouTube, to the Business Station channel and to my own channel, Dante St. James. So either one of those channels, you'll be able to view this. And most importantly, you'll be able to pick up lots and lots of other webinars and workshops that we've done as well. I think there must be close to 600 of them in the Business Station directory. I've got about 250 of them now. So yeah, just go for gold and just look up everything you possibly can. There's so much material in there. Bit of my background, I'm a Meta certified lead trainer with Meta, which is the owners of Facebook. Startup Territory is a new program I started up in the Northern Territory to train people in what it takes to start a new business that's actually going to work for them. I'm a trainer for Google's Digital Springboard program, as well as the host of the LinkedIn local Darwin chapter. Garamilla is the local Larrakia name for Darwin region. My own business, Clickstarter, which is an agency that's currently pivoting into a training organization, an entrepreneurship facilitators and digital solutions advisor as well. Plenty of other stuff on there we'll talk about another time, but that should cover us off. What is the problem with websites? Well, apart from the obvious that sometimes they're really slow to load and sometimes they're really, really, terrible to be able to to work with, and they don't tell the right story and they're too hard to find what you want to find. The biggest problem is that they, oh gosh, they need to be so many things. They need to be socially aware. They need to be aware of social media. They need to be beautiful, I suppose, but clean and fast. Absolutely. They need to contain your brand, so it's obvious what the brand is. Be mobile ready and be minimal as well. So there's not a lot of clutter going on. We as business owners like to cram our ads and our websites and our graphics full of words. We love to do it because we want to get as much bang for our buck as we possibly can. What we don't realize is that the more we cram on there, the less people will actually notice. What our websites are actually meant to be is lead generating machines. They're supposed to bring in leads and sales for our service-based businesses. That is the number one thing they're meant to do. You can get a graphic designer who's talking about, delivering your brand integrity. You've got another designer saying, oh, but it needs to be beautiful and functional and gorgeous. And then someone else is saying, oh, it needs to, have the perfect copywriting. But at the end of the day, the only thing your website's there for is to turn viewers into customers. You want people to come in as leads and be then sold your product or service. So how do we get there? We tend to miss a lot of things. The things that we measure as business owners, we like to look at maybe our Google Analytics and look at the traffic. How many people were there? Where did they come from? How long do they spend on the site? And where did they leave our site? So we can go, okay, where are our problem pages? So we can sort of tweak those and make them better. The reality is, though, what we should be measuring is closer to traffic, the people who are coming in, the leads generated, the conversions to customers that are generated, and what we call return on investment. If you spend $20,000 on a website, by goodness, you better make about $100,000 back from it, because a website should lead to at least 4 times a return on investment on what you paid. So let's just say you paid $2,000. You should be making $8,000 back from that website in the first year. If you're not, you've kind of wasted a lot of money. And there are so many free and close to free website builders these days. For e-commerce, there is what's called Big Cartel, and that is an amazing tool that's able to help you to build an e-commerce site with a domain name for free for up to 5 products. Then there's Google Sites, which helps you to be able to build, most common layouts for a website. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. I've spent most of my adult life since 1996 building websites for people and understanding that they don't need big, complicated, grand websites. things like Google Sites, which is free. You pay for a domain name. It's what, $8 a year or something like that, or maybe even slightly less than that, rather than going into these very complicated tools that are just there to feed the egos of the people building the sites. You don't need them. You can just do these things with a free tool and get the same results that anyone else can get. So what we tend to do is focus on the wrong stuff. What we need is those leads. At some point, we kind of let our web designers design our businesses. Web designers are terrible at lead generation. Web designers are terrible at copywriting. Web designers are not good salespeople. Web designers work with aesthetics. They work with the idea of what things look like, what looks beautiful, what loads fast, what is going to be a beautiful thing to present to the world. Now, of course, you want your website to be attractive. Nobody wants to look for an ugly website, but you also don't need a work of art. Your website is there to, as we said, deliver leads for you. Doesn't mean we're going to go down into a sales funnel path, but we are going to go and sort of strip away a lot of the elements that are just not necessary for a website. I want you to start forgetting about background images and forgetting about background videos. They're not what makes a website. They can be part of it, but that's not the important stuff to focus on. We need to step away from the design of these websites and look at what they must contain to tell a story to your customer that helps them feel like they can relate to you, relate to your product, and feel like their problem is about to be solved by the stuff that's on your website. So how do our websites work with our brains? Our brains approach things in a very strange manner. If anyone was in my last week's one about the marketing to the two different brains, this is kind of related to it. What happens is the brain processes what is 34 gigabytes of data every day. So that's there's USB sticks that hold more of that. It's just all the inputs we're taking and the decisions we're making. It equates to about 34 gigabytes of data. So that means you'd think that we can hold such infinite amounts of data every day in our brain. 34 gig is coming in. Well, how come we can only hold 3 gig of that every day? And it's because we don't keep all that data. We tend to filter it out. We'll take only the data that's absolutely necessary for us to survive, thrive, or protect what's ours. And then we just put the rest sort of in the background. It's why, when we think back on memories from 2 years ago of incidents that happened, there's certain things we can recall because only certain things were stored. The rest of it wasn't stored in our conscious memory to be able to recall when we think about it. And as time goes on, the brain sort of dumps more and more things along the way. So we don't have access to absolutely everything that we're going to see and hear right through our lives. Some people in hypnosis areas like to think that's the truth, but it's actually not. We don't recall everything. We don't retain everything. We take in everything, but you can take in 34 gig a day, but you can only store 3. So you've got sort of a disparity there between all the stuff coming in and the stuff you actually store. Much like on the internet, you will be watching gigabytes of data and videos and stuff every day, but you're not saving all that to your hard drive, because thinking, like saving things on a hard drive, takes a lot of space. It burns a lot of calories. And there's one thing that's so important to our survival as a human being, for our brain to work efficiently and for us to work down a path which is the easiest path forward through life, that's going to help us to survive, help us to thrive, help us to protect what's ours, and help us to seek comfort and not pain, is we need to burn less calories. Our decisions that we make along the way will always look for the easiest option, the more comfortable option. Some would say the laziest option, but it's actually about conserving calories for when we really will need them, which is usually, in our brain's case, thinking about running away from a saber-toothed tiger or hunting down a woolly mammoth with our fellow villagers in the caves to try and feed ourselves to get the next lot of calories, because we just don't know where those calories are going to come from. Our brain hasn't caught up yet, and our physiology hasn't caught up yet with the fact that we've got supermarkets like Woolies and Coles instead of hunting woolly mammoths now. What happens is our brain prioritizes information around what I was saying before: survival. What's going to help me survive? What's going to help me with comfort, help me to thrive? What's going to help me to protect my family, my loved ones, my possessions? And the biggest motivator of all, which is what's in it for me. That's the WIFM that's on there. What's in it for me? And that's where we take the information and index it so we can recall it again really soon. But our websites tend to make that really hard because they're full of stuff. You can imagine like how incredibly complex some plumbers and electricians make their websites. I'm not going there looking to learn about electrical stuff. I'm going there to get my air conditioner fixed or to get a new PowerPoint put in my wall. I don't need to know the background information on that. I don't need a 50-page website in order to get a tradie to come and do something in my home. In a restaurant, let's say in a restaurant, for example, you're going out for dinner tonight. So what things you may notice is, where is the fire exit? Where's the best table? Where are the toilets? Where are others eating? Because that, where the fire exit ties into our survival. Where is the best table? It ties into our comfort. Where are the toilets? Again, comfort and survival. What are others eating? We look at that because we think, well, I don't want to have to think too hard of what it is. I'll just see what's going by and went, I want that. What's that? And then, that would say, well, if they like it, I'll like it. And they look like people like me. We're using the least amount of energy we can to be able to get through the restaurant dining experience. But there's things that still come into our attention, but we don't tend to notice them. We don't file them away for future reference. For instance, we will not notice how many chairs there are in the restaurant. We'll look around and go, there's plenty of chairs, or there's not many chairs, but we won't go, there's exactly 73 chairs in this restaurant. We don't look at what color the skirting boards are that are in the restaurant, or if they're using LED lights in the bar, or they're using a fluorescent lighting in the ceiling. We don't really notice these things. We don't notice the type of timber used on the doorknob. We just don't take every piece of information in. It all comes in, but we don't store it. We don't prioritize it. And that's because we've only got that 3 to 4 gigabytes of room every day to store stuff on our hard drive. We don't have the full 34 gigabytes that we're taking in to be able to store. So you think about that in terms of your website. The main problem then is all really about the fact that we talk too much about ourselves on our websites. We really do. But who else should we talk about? It's our business. It's our stuff that we're selling. It's my time that I want to sell on there. So why wouldn't I talk about myself? Well, because it really fundamentally challenges that one thing I said was probably the most important thing that the customer will come into your website thinking is, what's in it for me? And talking about me does not say what's in it for them. What's in it for them is hopefully finding solutions to the problems that drew them to my website in the first place. So what are those things? We find that it's too hard to find what you need on a website. We hear that complaint a lot from people, particularly from people who've had websites built probably 10 years ago. And they're going, oh, everyone tells us it's too hard to use. It's too hard to find what we need. When we find things, when we make it too hard for people to contact us, too hard for people to read about us, too hard for people to get to know us, we're essentially threatening their survival. That's the way the brain thinks. I'm not talking about the rational brain, which is the upper brain, the prefrontal cortex, which does all our thinking and rationalizing and depth of thinking. I'm talking about the immediate, makes a decision straight away. That we call it the primal brain. And the primal brain is saying, this is too hard. You are threatening my survival and costing me too many calories. I'm moving on to someone who's got less, who's going to waste less of my calories. And that's another competitor who may actually be more clear. That's how you change that situation. You do it by providing clarity, clear information, clear instructions, clear calls to action. Clarity is the answer to all this. When you're clear, you've got structure. And the kind of structure we're looking at in our websites is all about, the equivalent of thinking that, my nana would have thought that Elvis was just noise when growing up. And this is where the structure comes in. It's structure that's relevant to who that person is and what their life is like. To my father, there was ultimate clarity in Elvis's music because he grew up with it. To him, Elvis was speaking his language. To my nana, it was noise. When I was growing up, I was listening to a band called Poison, with that glam hair rock metal band period where Motley Crue and all those and Bon Jovi and all those guys are around. My dad thought it was noise, but for me, they were speaking my language. They were saying all the things that I felt in my heart, and I related to it. Right now, though, I think the Lil Nas X and Billie Eilish are just noise. But Gen Z look at that and they see clarity. They see words that appeal to them. They see situations being sung about, talked about, rapped about that to them make 100% sense to their lives. That's the same thing of a website. What we are drawn to is clarity. We're drawn to the things that talk to us, familiarity, those things that are relevant Relevance is a very important thing. Does it, in the primal brain way, save us calories to take this information in and assist our survival? If it doesn't, we walk away from it. Now, you're doing this every time you walk in a supermarket. You look at something, you go, oh, I could sit there and I could read the back of the labels to see what the ingredients are. But the reality is you're probably going to pick up the brand you know, you love, you trust, and likely grew up with. Because let's face it, our opinions when it comes to brands, particularly in supermarkets, are set at very young ages, and we tend to just repeat them over and over and over until something changes our mind enough. So what we need to do to get that familiarity, that relevance that people are looking for, is we need to create a story out of our website. We actually make our website a story that people can follow through. Now, I'm not talking about a fairy tale where once upon a time in a lovely green, grassy, hilled kingdom, there was a prince and a princess. I'm talking about a story that's a bit of a hero's journey, that recognizes that your customer is looking to solve their problems and to solve them, hopefully with you. That's the ultimate aim you want. And we take them on that journey through getting them familiar with you, understanding they feel like they relate to you because you're able to tell a story that relates to them, and then moving through a chain of events, which you'll see very shortly, that tell that story. And it's a very comforting thing when you do it, because stories make sense. We have a species that's built upon storytelling. When I hear about the stories of the dreaming from our local Arikea Nation people, and telling us about why this is important here, why this water here is important, why that's a sacred site. You hear those stories that are passed down from generation to generation, and they make sense to why people are the way they are. Stories make sense also in how we can have people relate to us, trust us, and then buy from us, ultimately through having some kind of relationship with us. Now, this is called, it's a very, very scaled down version of it. It's called the hero's journey, where a character in a movie, for example, has a problem. Let's just say it's Star Wars. Luke Skywalker has a problem. He thinks he's destined for far greater, but he's stuck on a desert planet. Then all of a sudden, everything's ripped out from his life, and he meets a guide, Ben Kenobi, who gives him a plan to go and save a princess from a space jail. And that calls him into action to go and fight the pew, 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 and go around the galaxy and saving princesses and shooting down TIE fighters. What it does, it helps them to avoid failure, which is dying at the hands of the evil galactic empire, and leads them to success, blowing up the space jail and saving countless billions of people from being killed, so that at the end of the story, they're transformed. This is very much the same journey that happens with customers. A character in relation to what you sell is it's the same thing. I'll actually go back here and say a customer has a problem, meets you, who gives them a plan and calls them into action to buy a product that helps them to avoid failure and leads them to success, so that they too are transformed. Same story, same flow, same pattern, but we need to break it down so you understand what it actually all means. So let's just say the character or the customer. This is a person in relation to what you sell. What is it your customers want? Ask yourself this question. What do they basically want? And if your customer gets what they want, how would their life be better? And finally, if your customer is ready to buy now, how exactly are they going to do that? So what we're doing here is going, well, what do they want? Because that's how we sort of paint the picture of, oh yeah, we've got this thing that you want. Okay, so if they get what they want, then we want to make sure they understand that it's going to be a great thing if they get what they want, because their lives will be better. And then finally, let's make it easy for them to book us, to buy us, to book in our time, or to somehow purchase a product we need them to download. Here's an example of where it goes horribly wrong, where we don't understand who the customer is and don't make it easy for them. This is Zoe Facility Services, a real company in the US. This is not their current website. They had to go under a lot of changes because the feedback from their StoryBrand consultant was, we don't know what you do. Like, I could look at that, for instance, what are they actually doing? They've got a philosophy. They've got facility services, whatever that is. They've got a list of services. Do we know what they offer from this front of the website? Do we know how it makes your life better? Once this was changed over to something which actually made a lot more sense, it looks more like this. Now, who would have known that what they actually were was a commercial cleaning service? They clean offices. And they have a price match guarantee. It's a service that you can count on, a price match guarantee. Get a clean you're proud of. Your first 30 days are free. We can start 48 hours from right now. These guys are singing from my songbook because sometimes my office here gets a little bit dirty. And once we get to Sunday, when it's finally cleaned, by Friday, this place is looking like a pigsty. So this would be something which would attract me because it's a clean that I can be proud of. The first 30 days are free. How amazing is that? And they can start working with us within 48 hours. So by Wednesday, I'm essentially going to have a clean office again, and I won't have that problem again. I know what they offer. I know how it makes my life better. It's not a hard thing to work out. They've got a coronavirus response they have to say, but their call to action is strong. Start your 30-day trial now. I can trial a commercial cleaner for 30 days. What an amazing service that is. So it takes a long way from that nondescript website through to one that actually does tell a story about here's what your benefits are. Here's how your life is going to be better. And by the way, we make it really easy because there's one big orange button that's repeated in 2 places that you can click on that gets you the same result, which is that booking. Then we say, okay, the customer, we know who they are. We know what they want. They have a problem. So what problem do you think your customers are experiencing that's driving them to look for a product just like yours or a service just like yours? And think then, how does that problem make them feel? Now, in this case, we would go, okay, the customers have a certain problem coming into my business. Let's just say I might be a graphic designer. Their problem is they don't know how to create their own flyers. That's the problem they're having. And it's making them feel really stupid because everyone should know how to use this Canva thing they keep getting told about. Oh, just use Canva, just use that. It's so easy. They get to Canva and they have no idea what they're doing. They get into those templates, and by the time they've finished putting their information in, the template looks like a mess and it's all over the place and the font's not right. They're coming in feeling pretty dumb. So what we will look at is something like this. It helps to explain what it is that the customer's problem is. So in this case, it's a drug testing facility that can come into a business and help you to do drug tests. So they're saying, well, what you're going to have as a result of the problem you're having as a result of not doing the drug testing is you've got decreased productivity. There's a poor company image because everything's damaged when there's drug use involved, and you've got injury and workplace lawsuits coming out the wazoo. These are the problems you want to overcome. So they've just laid it out for that person. They go, that's us. We've got decreased productivity. Yes, we look like idiots right now because our staff are getting caught doing drugs in the toilets, and it's been going on Facebook, and we just had our first lawsuit. And I can relate to all this, or I can at least go, well, we've got the decreased productivity. It's only a matter of time before we're outed on Facebook and we get our first lawsuit. This is the kind of thing that needs to be painted out very obviously to people about what their problem is and what may be able to solve that. In another case, it could be a cat or dog who needs to go and see a vet. And this vet has said, well, is your cat or dog experiencing these specific things? Well, itchy or flaky skin. Yeah, my dog's always scratching, loose stools. Oh, not so much that maybe, but definitely a fussy eater. Absolutely. Oh, well, that means I can relate to this vet because this vet is singing from my songbook. They're actually the same things that I'm going through right now with my cat or my dog. Another example could be, where it's a painter and someone who paints houses, and the problem could be not able to do the painting yourself. Feel like you'd like to be able to choose your colors without having someone, tell you that they're wrong. Want to get it done quicker because you want to get things done in place before Christmas when the relatives come to town. You go, well, yeah, that's all kind of relevant to me. Yeah, absolutely, I want that job. So now that we've met our customer, we know what their problem is, and we've been able to articulate to them what their problem is before they've even told us, they meet what we call the guide, and that's you. In what ways are you similar to your customers? And this is where we ask the question of, quite often what's happened is you and I have built businesses around the problems that we may have experienced ourselves, particularly people in coaching and consulting. They've often gone, I had this problem myself, so I built a business around it so it provides a solution so no one else has to have this problem ever again. Or it may have been a health scare that turned you into a lifestyle coach, or turned you into someone who's selling a particular sort of supplements, or is a naturopath now because there's a better way for people to get healthier in response to 2 years of health crises. And ask yourself, why can they trust you to solve their problem? So what way are you similar to your customers, and why can they trust you to solve their problem? And then we look at an example of this. It's a Flywheel, which is a video platform, and it's simplifying the workflows for thousands of creatives. So what they've said is, we know that there's a complexity in the workflow for creative people, and we have found a way to simplify it. So the outcome there is, they're basically saying, we are your guide that's going to make this easier for you, that's going to simplify your workflow. And here's the reason why you're going to love our platform. Another example would be this one. This is a coach. We teach entrepreneurs the steps they need to take to bring a physical product idea to life, from finding factories to building a brand identity to shipping your first orders. We'll help you create the business and lifestyle you want. So Liz is someone who helps people to create online e-commerce businesses and drop shipping businesses and all that sort of thing. So she's saying, I'm the guide who's going to show you all this stuff. And I've also got the backing of all these big names like General Assembly, Forbes, and Makers Row, and the Boston TV channel, all these things that are going to provide you with the expertise you need, because I've got the background and I'm the guide who's going to give you that. In this example, this is another one for somebody. This is the same site actually that does the drug testing facility for businesses. So they're saying here, we're ready to help you be drug free. We're ready to be the guides, and you can trust us as the guides because it's a retired police officer and drug recognition expert. We've been in business doing this since 2012. We've been for 10 years, and over 21,000 drug tests have been administered. So they're telling you straight up why they can trust you. And trust is such an important thing. It's really like at the center of why people will choose you. Then what will happen is they'll give you a plan. That guide gives you a plan. What is the plan to solve their, what is called the internal and external problem? The external problem in the drugs case could be that you're getting too many lawsuits from people taking drugs in the workplace. The internal problem is you feel hopeless and unable to solve any of this yourself. So what are you doing to give them a plan that helps them to take control? And then what assurances or agreements will you offer to make them feel safe on that purchase and taking you on? And this is all about creating 3 to 5 steps that someone should take to reach their solution. So what do these steps actually look like? So they're basically the steps it takes to work with you. So these are people who are selling cars online, and they're saying it's quick and easy. You don't need to buy a car from us to sell us your car. Great. Okay. I want to sell my car. So step 1, bring your car in. Step 2, let us appraise it. Let's see how much we think it's going to be worth. And step 3, we'll give you an offer. So they make it super simple. Like, look at that and go, okay, that's much more simple than putting an ad on Cars Guide or on whatever the websites are that you sell cars on these days. This is simple. I just bring my car to a place, they appraise it, they give me an offer. That's pretty cool. They reckon they'll buy any car. They've made it super simple. 1, 2, 3 steps, and it's gone. This case, another 3 steps. This is like a lens company. They sell glasses pretty much. So you sell, contact lenses. So with Hubble, they sell, you get 15 pairs for free. You just have to cover the monthly $3 for shipping and handling. So you start for free, and then you subscribe for $33 a month to get your lenses to around about $1 a day. And then thirdly, you're in control. You can easily cancel and modify your subscription to suit your needs. 1, 2, 3, laid out. These are the steps for how to work with this. Start off with a free lot, then you can subscribe, and you can always be in control. You've got assurance that you can make changes to your subscription if you need to. Another example, this is someone who is a mortgage broker. So they'll go, okay, so number 1, call me, tell me about your goals and find out what you need to get your loan. 2, plan your path to your new home, avoid the pitfalls and plan the best way to get the loan. Number 3, we close the deal, sign the paperwork, receive the keys, and you get to go into your new home. That is so much easier than going towards most of these mortgage brokers who just go to so much. Gosh, they would go to so much trouble explaining what it is a mortgage broker does. But in these 3 little things here, someone's made it so easy to understand. This is what a mortgage broker does. Call me. We talk about your goals. And then we do a plan, and then we close the deal. I get you the loan. We close the deal. Much, much easier to approach. And then once we've got all those things in there, what is our agreements that we put in place to reassure them? Kind of like money back guarantees, or, once you've bought this with us, you've got access to our 24/7 service department, or you can approach us anytime, we'll help you out. It's things that can also be benefits. So if you want tree runners are a brand of shoes, they're a low carbon recycled shoe material that is very much about fitting anyone's foot just perfectly. So they say, well, what is the benefit of tree runners? They're lightweight and breezy. So you're going to know that it's lightweight and breezy. It flexibly conforms. So you know it's going to work. There's reassurance that it's going to help your feet stay cool. Reassurance that you're not going to have stinky feet. You can wear them without socks. You can know that you're doing good by the planet, and you know that you've got the reassurance you can wash these shoes anytime you like. So the reassurances and the guarantees that they're saying are part of this this product are very easy to see. And then in this case, this is someone who's providing, moving from a from a piece of software to another piece of software. So what they want to do, it's like like an email marketing system. So their greatest success is your success. Here's what we're going to do to make sure you do succeed. Our main focus is to get you in your inboxes. That's what we do. Switching is easy. We're not going to make it hard for you to go from MailChimp to us. And we've got 24/7 support. So that reassurance is there. There's some sort of reassurance on that website that you are going to not just be brought into a product, but we're going to help you out once you've got that product. It's very reassuring when you do that, especially with software. And then we call people to action in this. So remember our heroes on their journey, we're going to call them action to save the princess from the space jar. Well, what we need to do here in that call to action is list what the customer gets and provide the direction with which they're going to buy whatever it is you're selling. So we're going to show them what they're going to get for their money, and then you're going to provide them with a simple, easy step to get it to buy. So in this case, it would be, here are the 3 packages that this particular proposal software has. They've got a freelancer package, a professional package, and a business package, and it lists clearly what each of those packages provides. And then you simply start the trial. So you don't have to think about what you do next. It's right there, the buttons, start trial. They've made it simple by listing out what you get and then finding it even simpler to book that thing. Here's another case. So this is for, I think this is for either Wix. I think this is Wix websites. Yeah, it is. And so you can start off, oh no, sorry, this is Gmail. This is Google's Workspace Gmail professional business email. So you can start off at $8.40 a month, and here's what you get. Get started. Business standard, $6.80. This is the most popular plan. Here's what you get. Now get started. So this is where it's really laid out exactly what it is you're going to get and where to start getting it. The only really complicated one is the enterprise level, which is someone who's got hundreds or thousands of employees, and they're going to roll this out to a lot of people, potentially with millions of dollars a year in spend. You want to do more than just click a get started button. If you're going to go to that much spend, you're going to want to talk to someone and get a special deal. So that's why it's a little bit more complex for that. Now, what we want to do is make sure that our customers, when they get to our website, feel like you're going to help them to avoid failure. Because if they don't buy what you're selling, there's something that's going to happen. There's going to be a repercussion in their life if they don't do what you need them to do. If they don't take on your service, if they don't take on your graphic design services or your life coaching services or your consultation services, something bad is going to happen. And there's some things that are going to get worse if they don't go ahead and do this. And it's up to you to make this completely obvious to them what the repercussions are for not buying what you're selling. So when we then go, okay, once we've got the repercussions out of the way of, okay, if you don't buy this, it's potential that you'll never ever grow your business. Then we go what the success is. So we're going to paint this and you're going to see how this works in a website design very shortly. I know this is quite confusing because you're going, how does this equate to a website? We'll have this in a second, I promise you. And it ends in success. So not only saying, okay, here's the bad things that can happen if you don't buy our service, but here's the good things that will happen if you do go ahead and buy. And we've got proof of this because we've got testimonials from people who are going to tell you that, yeah, this happened really well for them as well. So this is an example of the StoryBrand 7-page framework, which is a course I did about 2 years ago. And the investment I made in this course, which was very expensive, it tells me exactly what I'm going to get. It's telling me what's inside the course. It's telling me in language, which is all about what the potential is. Can potential customers understand what they need your product or service? A lack of clarity may already be costing you a great deal. So that's where they're actually painting what the potential failure is a lack of clarity is costing me a great deal. So they're already painting that in. They're saying, well, I can understand that. I need this course because there's potential failures going on. This is on one of my websites. So it's saying that, are you struggling to connect with customers online? And I'm saying, okay, here's a bunch of things that are not quite going right. Online just isn't a website. The digital world isn't easy. Here's the things that you're not really getting. Here's the relationship you're learning about not getting found on Google, wasting money on advertising. These are all the things that can potentially be like failures and losses to your business. And then I go and say, okay, here's what the good things are. So I've gone, first of all, here's what the potential negatives here. Here are the positives. Understanding a customer's motivation, knowing what it takes to be found, working on it with a guide, learning what your brand message is. So what does this actually look like in a website? This is probably what the big point is. They've got all this theory, we've got all this understanding. Okay, we need to go on a customer journey. We need to tell a story in some way. How do we actually lay that out? We do that with a website wireframe. And it's kind of like a mud map. You can do it in Canva. I generally do mine in Canva, but probably the best way to do it is on a whiteboard where you actually just lay it out. What is the journey that's going to go through this website as a mud map? First, they start here, then they go down here, then they go down here. And what you do, you use this mud map to work with your web designer to build out the website you need that's going to sell better. And so I've done tons of these, like dozens of these, where I provide the mud map and the layout and I go, give this to your web designer and they can go and build it. And it helps them to be able to see, what are the things that have to be included and how will they be laid out? What's the logical way going through a website? And one of the website designers I work with, she loves it when we do this because it takes a lot of the guesswork away from her. She's like, so customer, what do you want your website to look like? What do you want the message to be? And they're just sitting there going, I don't know, you're the web designer, you make it work. And as I said before, web designers are terrible copywriters and not very strategic. They're very design oriented, not customer journey oriented. So you can build a better website with your web designer when you do this stuff in the first place. So the first thing we're going to look at is the header, the top of the website. Now, what you'll notice in this particular mud map, which is a very neat and tidy mud map, is yes, there's a logo where you'd expect it to be, but notice how few things are in the menu. This is where a StoryBrand website differs from a lot of standard websites we see everywhere. Standard websites want to overload you with so many options at the top. Oh, make sure you can contact me over here, and here's my about story, and here's my services, and here's my blog, and all this is saying is, well, here's the two most important things. Download our free guide because that's going to get us in your mailbox and we're going to be able to, have a relationship with you and send you stuff. And secondly, schedule a call. That's the ultimate thing we want to do, is schedule a call. So if someone comes to your website and already knows what they're looking for and knows who they want to talk to and what they want to do, give them the respect of actually being able to do it easily, not having to dig through 13 pages of your content to get to that scheduled call. So have a highlighted call to action button at the top right of your page where the eye initially goes. It's like a Z pattern that the eye follows. Starts at the logo, goes across, then down, then across again. And the message here is super, super simple. In this case, it may be a web designer saying, get a website that makes you proud. Wow. That is a powerful statement. That's exactly solving the problem, is that this person probably comes to this site and goes, I have got a website which is crap. I'm not proud of it. I'm embarrassed by it. It got made by my 14-year-old son about 5 years ago. He doesn't support it anymore. I'm ashamed of our website. And immediately this goes, get a website that makes you proud. And again, that schedule a call. So that person could go, yep, that's exactly what I want. Schedule the call right now. And there might be a bit of an image in there that helps to explain what it looks like when you have a website that makes you proud. So that's a header, really, really simple. The next thing is what we call the value stack. And the value stack is 3 short, sharp messages that explain what the customer wants as their outcome in their business as a result of your service. So success 1 for our website design people could be a website that's easy to use. Number 2 could be a website that looks great. Number 3, a website that you won't have to waste time learning how to use it. They will be 3 amazing outcomes for most small businesses who just do not want to know how their website works until they need to do something with it. And then they want it to be as simple as possible, that they don't have to keep relearning it all the time. It's something which they can log into and it's like, oh, click there, do that, change that word, fantastic, I'm done, get out and get on with my life. So that's the value stack. What are you going to get at the end of the day? And these are like very short statements. They're usually 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 words each, and keep them as short as you possibly can and about even in their length as well, so they look good on the page. Next up is what we call the stakes. This is what the problems are. This is where someone goes, yeah, I'm struggling with not having a website that people will buy anything through. I'm struggling with my website going too slow, so it ranks very poorly on Google. I'm struggling with a website that people tell me looks really old-fashioned and I really should update. I'm struggling with not being able to do this myself because I just don't have the time or the skill or the expertise. So you're putting in the stakes. In other words, what's the potential disasters in there? It could be something like, do you struggle with the fact that your website is driving a business broke? Do you struggle with the fact that your website, so you insert your product in there. You struggle with the fact that that you use so much essential oils because they're so poorly concentrated that you're buying new ones every week. Do you struggle with the fact that that clothing just doesn't seem to fit you and you need things that just fit? Wouldn't it be nice to have things that don't fit? Do you struggle with not looking great because your makeup doesn't suit your skin tone? So insert what your certain service is in there or what your product is and show the struggles that are associated with your category of business. Then what we've got next is the value proposition. The value proposition is basically your services. I have a service which could be web design. The second one could be graphic design. The third could be copywriting. Or in your case, it could be essential oils, consulting for aromatherapy. And the third one could be something else you're selling, accessories. Or it could be empowerment for women. It could be second, then confidence training for kids. And 3, bullying counseling for those who are victims of bullying. Whatever your services are in there, this is where you listen with a very, very short thing and have some kind of descriptive image or icon that kind of points to what that thing is. Because so far we're seeing a lot of words and not a lot of images because they've all like these image placeholders. And notice how we've got the schedule a call in there straight away. So we've gone through and said, okay, get a website that makes you proud. Here's the things that you'll get at the end of the process. These are the things we know you're really looking for. Here's the struggles that you're going through getting them. And now here's our solutions to those. So now that you know the solutions, just schedule a call with us. Let's talk about it. Let's just cut to the chase. But you're not quite ready to cut to the chase and schedule a call yet. That's all right. We've got a bit more info. We've got the info about the guide. You are the guide, and you can say, yeah, we get it. Building a website can be hard. Yeah, we get it. Living the best life can be hard. Yeah, we get it. Doing a renovation on your laundry can be hard. Yeah, we get it. Maintenance on your car can be hard. But we are the people who've been doing this for 25 years, and we're really, really open to meeting with you to help this be better for you. Schedule a call. And then we're going to back it up with a bit of reassurance from these 2 people on the right who are our testimonials. They're our case studies. So it could be Claudia from Emerald in Queensland, who's saying, I worked with Gary for 15 years and he's never let me down. Really happy to keep working with him for another 15. On the right, there could be Jocelyn from Melbourne, and Jocelyn's telling us, the last time I had to deal with anything really complicated was when I first started working with Gary. Now, everything is simple because he's made it really simple for me to work with. Thanks, Gary. So you're not just saying, here's how good I am. You're saying, here's what other people are saying about me that proves that I'm really good at what I do. Next, the packages and the pricing. So generally what happens, there's 3 packages mainly. So if you're doing counseling services, coaching services, any sort of consultation services, then this might be, a half an hour is, a 1 hour is, a 2 hour is, or a workshop costs this much, a webinar costs this much, and my free ebook costs this much. And immediately now, when we've got the packages and pricing, notice how we had our last schedule a call. We're going to schedule a call again. The big thing we want people to do is obviously schedule a call. This is where we now, get a lot more of a chance of someone scheduling a call because they now know what we're about. They know what they want to get out of your products and services. They know what the stakes are. They know how hard it is to struggle with this thing a lot more. They know what your services are. They get that people have done this and they feel a lot more trusting of you. Now, finally, we can give them the price. And even in this case, we're looking at a schedule a call, but you may have, just a select this, select this, select this, or buy now, or book now, book now, book now. In this case, it's a consulting company with websites. So they just want you to schedule that call so you can have a discovery session with them. Now, someone's still not really understanding what this is all about. The plan is the bit that's really going to get them over the line, because it is those 3 simple steps, or 4 or 5. I've worked with some who had 6 different steps that paint out exactly what the plan is. So what would be, first off, call us, then get the plan to overcome it, and we'll grow your business. Or it could be book a discovery call with me. Second, we work out the plan that's going to work right for you. And finally, we book in your first session to start your journey towards success, or whatever the language is you're going to use. Having this plan is the one thing that's probably the most missing from websites. But when I do work with people to do StoryBrand website designs, this is the one thing that makes the most sense to those clients. So they go, of course. Think about all those times where you had to do something you'd never done before, and all you really wanted was someone to tell you what the hell to do. This is what this is. This is how it is. This is cutting to the chase and saying, this is how you work with me. So schedule the call. Let's get it started. And finally, there's the explainer. And this is mainly, I guess, for people who have got to the end of the page and they're going, so I'm still not really sure about what it is you do. And so this explanatory paragraph, the explainer, explains what you do. And it's a bit of a formula of, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is why you should care about that, and this is why you want to trust us to do it for you. And you'll have a bit of a photo in there. But ultimately what this is really a bit of SEO, a bit of search engine optimization. This is where all your keywords are going to be for what people will search for you to solve for them. So this it's like on the customer journey, this is one of the least important parts of the page, even though you think this is the stuff that usually lives at the top of people's websites. So they think, oh, it's very important for me to explain all the things I do. It's actually not that important, because by the time they've come to your website, they've got a pretty good idea about what it is you do anyway, because they were looking specifically for you, or at least for what you do. This paragraph helps them to find you on Google, and for Google to know exactly what your service offering is and what they should categorize you and rank you as in their search results. And then if you're someone who's really into these, and I quite like a lead magnet, to be honest, have a lead magnet in there. I've got one on the bottom of my website, dantestjames.com, which is all about getting your email address so that every Saturday morning I can send you a message. I can send you an email, which gives you one tip for your business that's going to help you next week. Doesn't overload you, takes about 3 minutes to read, and that's easy. So I don't necessarily want to send you a free guide of what 7 things your website should include, but I could, I suppose. But really what I want to do, I want to build a relationship with over time. I'm not trying to sell you anything straight up. What I'm trying to do is just have a relationship with you, to give you a chance to learn some stuff for free. And if by some chance you need some help with what I'm doing, then I've got services that can help you out with it. But my main thing is to get that email address so I can start that relationship with you. And it's quite beautiful. I've got over 7,500 people on my list right now. And every Saturday morning I send that out. And every Saturday morning I get, 7 or 8 different people reply to me through that. And it goes to it's not a no reply, it goes to my actual mailbox. And I can have some beautiful conversations with people over the weekend who are, either looking for a bit more information about what it is I was talking about. But what it has done is driven my signups for 15-minute discovery calls through the roof. Like, I'm booked out for the next week with discovery calls. I can't fit any more of them in because of that little thing I've got on my website. And then at the bottom is that junk drawer. The footer. I call it junk drawer, because where all the junk links go, like, the contact page and all that sort of stuff. It's, if you really, what you're trying to get people to do is to email you or to book a time with you. The contact page is pretty inconsequential. People will find it if they need to. A page that lays out all your services in fine print. Yeah, sure. No one needs to see that at the top of their website. Just put it down the bottom of the website. Link to your resources. Link to your privacy policy and all that sort of stuff can be down there. It's out of the way. It's not getting in anyone's way, and it's simple. And I think most of us now know that if we're on a desktop or even on a phone, if you really want to find where all the links are, just go straight to the bottom of the page, and there they all are lined up, all the important things. So examples of how these websites look in real life would be something like this. This is the perfect plate. They are a meal prep business. and they bring professional chefs to your home to prepare delicious, customized meals. So they've got relax and enjoy a meal prepared in your home. Simple message. Then the things you're going to gain. Here's the things you really will gain from this. Free up your time. Stop stressing about what to cook. Save money and reduce waste. Next, the stakes. Does meal prep take up too much of your time? You're too busy to prepare meals. You'd rather spend time with your family. So they're saying these are the things that the problems you now got. You're too busy to prepare meals. You'd really rather be doing something else. You want healthy home cooked meals, and the meal delivery services are way too expensive. It gives you a choice to choose the plan. Their call to action right throughout this: choose a plan, choose a plan, choose a plan. Now they look at what their value proposition is: delicious, affordable meals cooked right in your home. And it shows it's about professional chefs, it's about affordable plans, about flexible options. Then they go and look at the testimonials from people who've been enjoying their meal plans. And then their pricing, simple pricing laid out for you. So you can go, okay, that's how it works. And then the plan, step 1, step 2, step 3, choose a plan. So that's an example of what one might look like. So they don't all have to look boring. In fact, that's a really pretty looking website. Looks great, really nicely designed. The elements make it look like it's a very unique website. Another one is for caring for whatever it is, postpartum. Caring for postpartum. So for mums who are suffering a bit of depression after having a baby, and so this is like helping mamas thrive. So that's all it's about. You can go, yep, it's helping the mums thrive, and it's on-demand classes for parents. Simple, clear. You know what this is about, and know what those outcomes are: lower stress, less crying, more snuggling. That's exactly what a mum wants, isn't it? Less stress, less crying, and more snuggle time with their baby. Beautiful, isn't it? And then the stakes are that most information isn't helpful. Hospital courses only cover what happens at the hospitals. Google is scary. There's no baby instruction book. And then it says, here's the value proposition. Finally, a baby manual. Knowing how to take care of your baby shouldn't be a hassle or a mystery. Tell the difference between sleepy and hungry crying. And then it's like the resources are laid out. Here's the value proposition of conquer the early weeks of breastfeeding, bringing home baby, nursing cart checklist. And then we look at the description of what it's all about. It's Carrie, the introduction to her and to her services. So it follows that. Now, some of these things are swapped around in order. That's fine too. But what you'll find is that generally the top couple of areas, so that header, and then the 3 main benefits, and then the struggles, are generally in that order. After that, it's not so important to go with the order, but those top 3 are generally where the order works its best. Another example is for a Pilates club. And so it's a workout your body needs to live the life you want. Great. So really, really simple. Yeah, work out your body needs, and it helps me to live the life I want. We're a Pilates studio in East Sacramento that can help you move and feel your best. Book your intro sessions. Now, they're called to action throughout. The whole thing is the same all the time. Book your intro session, book your intro session, book your intro session. And you can see that same thing. Step 1, step 2, step 3. You can see you can love the body you live in. That's the value proposition. So these don't have to be ugly websites that are boring. They can actually be quite beautiful and quite gorgeous with beautiful photography, and be laid out in a way that makes sense to someone reading it. They immediately know what it's all about. They immediately know where to go and what to do. Another example, a really pretty one. This one's for Concilio Wealth Advisors. They've got great graphics on there, but again, it's the same kind of clarity. Experience the confidence you deserve. At Concilio Wealth Advisors, we help smart people like you make smart decisions with your money so you can experience the confidence you deserve. Do you have financial clarity? No? Take the assessment. Schedule a call, schedule a call, schedule a call right throughout this front page. And what are the things that you want to get as an outcome? To be smart with your money, to develop a clear plan to track your progress, to manage more than just investments. So you can see this clarity coming up again and again and again. These guys who are chemical pressure washers, everything professional pressure washers need. They sell the things to professional pressure washers. So people who go out and clean, pathways and graffiti off walls and that, they have the stuff for it. So they go, okay, we got a free download, but ultimately what you want to achieve is to save money, finish faster, and be successful. Sounds great. What's the number 1 call to action? Talk to our experts at this phone number. They've decided they want to talk to you on the phone.